Hello, friends. This is People Are Interesting with Jan K. In each episode of this show, unique individuals share stories that take us on a ride across ideas and places, featuring crocodile attacks in Indonesia, escaping war-torn Lebanon, and shark protection schemes in Mauritania. This podcast takes you where you've never been before. Enjoy and thank you for joining the club. Where has life taken you?
I'm in Curitiba, Brazil.
You even say it the right way, huh?
I hope so.
I think so. Because they
If
don't
you
really
ask a
roll
local,
R's. I feel
Ooh,
like Brazilians don't really roll R's, do they?
Not like the Spanish, no.
Right? Yeah, they
No,
don't.
not at all. Like they pronounce things totally differently. But if you ask the locals here, I probably butcher the name, but like I do my best.
Yeah. So where's the place you're in right now? Because ignorance like me only know Rio, Copacabana, and Sao Paulo.
Okay, so I'm a little south of Sao Paulo in the state of Paraná. And yeah, the city is Curitiba. It's like the capital of the state. I'm in my own apartment here.
Cool. Well, how did you end up living in Brazil? Like how long have you been there, and what's up?
How long? What's it been? 7 months, I think. I've been here since January, middle of January. Like I just started traveling around and decided to stay basically.
But it's so unusual. It takes such an unusual mindset to be, I'm just gonna move to Brazil and travel around and maybe stay somewhere that I like. Can you tell us a little bit more about how how you essentially become the person you are, the person who is willing to just take a suitcase and go to Brazil?
Yeah, of course. No, I think like it really depends. If you just take your suitcase and you move to Brazil for the rest of your life, I think that's a different thing than what I'm really doing. I just have this kind of lifestyle, and some other people have this as well, of moving around a bit. As you may know, well, we met in Spain. Before this, I lived in Ireland as well, in the Netherlands, where I'm from. And I don't know, it's kind of like a lifestyle. I just move around a lot. I don't like staying in the same place for too long.
Why do you like moving around? Most people are sedentary. What are you doing?
I guess it's a bit of exploration of the world, right?
Yeah.
And like I'm not a traveler kind of guy that goes to a place, visits the tour spots, and then goes home. That's not me. I like to emerge into a culture, sometimes learn a language, what I'm trying to do here as well, and yeah, really get to know the place.
Right. But from what you told me, going to Brazil was very ad hoc. It wasn't planned.
Yeah, it wasn't in my planning, but it was an option, so I just took it. It was a bit spontaneous.
But
I don't know what else I would have done actually, but
how much planning did you put into arranging?
Oh,
everything?
Absolutely none, man. Like the reason I got here was like I started traveling, but that was actually a different story. On the 14th of January this year, I was planning on going back to Ireland, getting a job in Dublin there, and I actually got a job. I don't know exactly how that ended, but I texted that night. I texted a friend of mine who was living in Ireland if I could crash at his place till I found my own. And then he told me, he's from Brazil, that he said like, man, I'm done with the restrictions here in Ireland. I need some freedom. I'm gonna go back to Brazil. Want to join me? And then he told me like, I'm leaving in 3 days, or it was 3 or 4 days, something like that. Really, really short. So that moment I just decided like, okay, fuck it. Fuck that job, didn't pay that well anyway. Let's go to Brazil. And 3 days later, I flew here and just started traveling around. And after 2 months, I just decided to stay.
Can you tell me more about the decision making process that went through your head when, instead of going to Ireland, you decided to go to Brazil? Because I feel like there is a lot of value in trying to like understand, trying to pick up your brain. And
Really?
I think a lot of people, including me, can learn a lot about being spontaneous. I'm not saying that everyone should hop on the first plane to Brazil and just launch themselves to a completely new environment, but almost every day you can take chances, or you can stay within your comfort zone. And like, I feel like you decided to get out of your comfort zone big time, and kudos to you, sir.
Hmm. Yeah, I think with a lot of things I get out of that comfort zone, but in this case, maybe not so much actually. It was a bit of things coming together, like a bit of spontaneous things as well. I just looked for something new to do, and I didn't want to go back to the Netherlands, especially not during Corona time, the pandemic. Everything's closed. It's not much going on, and most of my friends didn't live there, so I just didn't want to go back. Mostly, I also met my girlfriend here. Well, before I decided to stay, we just saw each other a couple times, but that also gave a little bit of the push.
But I'm
I think
guessing you didn't know her before you
no, we met each
traveled
other
to
here.
Brazil, right? So
Yeah.
your friend is telling you, look, I'm going to Brazil in 3 days. Do you want to come? What
That
was?
decision. That's the decision you mean.
Yes.
I don't know. How would you explain that? I think that is just looking yourself in the mirror, asking yourself that question and saying, fuck it. Let's go. What do you have to lose?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right.
you only live once. It's a bit of a YOLO type thing, but you
I
just gotta
love
go
it.
for it sometimes.
I love it.
That's the only way you can live a full life, I think. You just take risks.
So was it a conscious decision that you've made, or was it actually not? You didn't really put any thought to it,
To go or to stay?
to when you decided, okay, I'm just gonna hop on that plane. I've never been to Brazil. My plan was to go to Ireland, because that's even more. It might be even more confusing to some people, because you actually had a decent plan set up. You had a job lined up. You had a lot of things that, to many people, they would feel fixed with their plan. Like, they would not abort the mission. Yet you were like,
Always choose the better
180.
plan.
Yeah, 180 degrees change, and you just disappeared.
Yeah. I think that was mostly I just didn't like my plan before. This was way better. It was just an option, man. There's an opportunity, and if there's an opportunity facing you, you gotta take it. If you don't take that opportunity, you will miss out. That's the only thing you will regret in life, I think, if you don't take your opportunities. So if you see them, you gotta take them, and this was one of them.
I love it. I love it. But was it always like that for you, or this is the kind of, I would say,
Mm,
mindset that you acquired over time?
I think that came over time. When I was younger, probably had this less, but I also always a bit frustrated with how things were. How were things going, like with study and with work? I don't know. There's a lot of things that this world like tells you to be, and I wasn't that. So that just frustrated me, and that pushed me in learning how to like break out of it.
When you say that, the world, there's things that the society expects from you, what do you mean? And what
Like
like
the simple things of going to school, get your university degree or whatever degree you're getting. Then you get a job that pays almost nothing, probably, because in this day and age, when you get out of college, you get paid shit, basically. For most things, at least I got offered shit. Then you work till you pay off your debt, and then you buy a house, and then you get a child, and then you pay off that debt of that child, and you can pay for the kids' college, then you die, You have maybe 1 year of retirement or something in between. I don't know. That's not the thing I want to do, but like that's where I see most people going.
Right. Okay. So when did you
That's,
observe this pattern, and when did you kind of decide to break out of it?
well, I think at a quite young age, but that was mostly because after high school I didn't know what to study. I mean I chose something, and then I dropped out of the first university, went to the second one, which ended up being chemistry. But I only chose it because like I was kind of good at it in high school, but there were like many things I wanted to do. It's not one profession I want to do. It sounds boring. Like you study, then you're done, and then you do the same thing for 40 years. Like hell no.
Mm.
That doesn't sound good to me. So during that time, I kind of research other things. During college, I did like night class for entrepreneur school and started investing a bit and learning about other stuff as well. And at the end of college, I started working in sales, which eventually got me into a job in Ireland. And now I'm working in the cryptocurrency industry. So yeah,
Not chemistry.
I
Not
like to
exactly.
switch.
Yeah, not exactly chemistry.
No.
Interesting. Okay, fair. So you're saying that this is. Do you think anyone can just take chances in life, or do you think
Oh
it
yeah, easy.
requires something special?
No, I think anyone can do it. Like it's not difficult. You just gotta do it. It's like discipline. You need to train yourself. It's your mind. It's like it's not a skill you have. Like right now I'm learning an extra language here, for example. Well, we're speaking English right now. I speak Dutch as well, and we were in Spanish school together.
Yep.
So that says something, I guess, about my language abilities here. And I was labeled in high school as a kid with dyslexia, and I could drop out of language classes because I would learn slowly anyway. And I think what I'm doing here right now proves the point that was bullshit.
Yeah,
Like
100% proves the point.
no matter like who you are, or like what you do, or how smart you are, like you can do it. It's just discipline.
Mhm.
That's all, and you can train it yourself.
But you think people can train themselves to take opportunities when they present themselves?
Yeah, you can train yourself for that. Like you seeing an opportunity is a skill, definitely.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? For example, how did you acquire the skill? How do you maybe use it in your daily life, or at least how do you try to
Well,
do it?
yeah, of course. Like that's mostly mindset. I think like a lot of people procrastinate, they see things at like a negative side, and I think, or they're impatient. Impatient is like the worst things you see these days. But that's, in my opinion, mostly blame to social media and the quick highs we get every day.
Mm-hmm.
But if you learn to see things more positive, and it's just so simple as that, like just see things positive, you're gonna see more opportunities. Like people like to use logic to make something look bad or pessimistic. Like use a statistic to show how bad something is or how small the chances are. But if you use that same thing as a mindset to approach things, everything will look shitty, and you will never see any opportunities. You gotta like look optimistic to the opportunities, and then try to use your logic to see if you can actually do it without harming yourself. That's all you need to do.
Nice.
As long as you don't harm yourself or anyone else, like what's the risk in taking a chance? Sometimes.
That's so true. But I don't think people think that.
No, they don't think it by themselves. And I think I was way more pessimistic when I was younger too. I just started reading a lot of these books about this kind of stuff.
Self-help.
And that actually helped me. Yeah, just self-help books. Little life
Self-help
coaching
books are
things.
the shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, like some people say, like, oh no, it's the book that's gonna tell you to be a billionaire if you do this and this and this.
I
And
mean, there is also a lot of
yeah,
BS books like that. The guy who wrote
true.
it is trying to make money.
True, you have some bullshit in there, of course, but like with everything, you have some bullshit. But I don't think that it is bullshit. That's the thing. Some people may over exaggerate some things, that's for sure. But in the end, usually it comes down to the same things.
I mean, personal growth definitely isn't
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah, like this thing. If there's a book that says like, oh, grow yourself and do this and this and this, and you'll make 10,000 trillion million billion, I don't know how many dollars. Yeah, that's bullshit, of course. But the thing is, like, if it still teaches you some things about self growth, it's gonna have a positive impact on you, even
Yep.
if it delivers on its promises or not.
Yep.
So you can better
Definitely.
do it than not do it. That's what I
Definitely.
think.
So you hop on the plane. Did you? What was the from the moment you made the decision? Okay, I'm going to Brazil. Until you hopped on the plane, what happened in the meantime, in between?
Ooh, not much. I need to get my vaccinations very fast. I was lucky I could get like an appointment the next day.
What kind of diseases do they have there?
Like yellow fever, was it hepatitis A or something?
All the good stuff.
Yeah, all the good stuff. And you have the stuff from the dogs. How's that called again? Rabish? Rabish? I don't know. You know that stuff where the dog has like the foam around their mouth? That stuff.
Rabies. Maybe that's what it
Rabies.
is.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you have that one, and then
Is there a lot of stray dogs?
yeah, you do.
Really?
Like it
Ooh.
depends what part of the country you are. If you go more north, you have a more. I'm in the south. Things in the south are a bit different. I mean, how you say it? For this country, kind of like a posh city, so
Mhm.
not so much here. But if you go outside or to the countryside, definitely, yeah.
So Brazil isn't the same from what you're saying. It's a very well, I mean, it's a huge country. What are the what are
Yours.
the differences in your opinion, just from what you've seen?
The difference is like within the country or like to other countries compared.
No, no, within Brazil. So what places have you seen during your 7 months here, and what?
Well, I've been mostly in the south. Like the most north I've been is Salvador.
Mhm.
But this country has like different cultures, and I think that comes from like the wealth class, but also from your so that's a bit racist, but that I guess it is your race, like where you grew up, how rich you are, and that kind of things make a lot of difference here.
I mean, Brazil, if I remember correctly, Brazil, there has been, I don't know, factor of 10 or something, the amount of, you know, uh, people that were imported from Africa as slaves than there were to the south of America, like south of the United States. So there's been
Oh yeah,
way
like they
more slaves been moved to
this
Brazil.
used to be one of the biggest well, slave countries, you could say, in the
Yeah.
world.
Yep.
And they also ended it the latest, I think, somewhere at the end of the 1800s.
Oh wow. Okay.
They kept on going for quite some time, but
Hmm. Okay.
I guess that's all. This is all history now. So, but
So the
the actually the
classes
population is like 50-50. That's actually a funny thing.
in terms of
Black and white.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Where you put that line is maybe sometimes a bit difficult to say, as you have a lot of mixing, of course. But like reportedly, the country is 50-50 more or less.
Oh wow. And there's
But
200 million Brazilians.
yeah, 220, I think. But it really depends where you are in the country. Like in the south, where I'm staying, you have a lot of German immigrants from the 1900s, or was it the beginning of the 20th century, that moved here. So, for example, my girlfriend, she's from German roots, but like 100 years ago. And I've been to her hometown, which is like a small farmer town here. And like people do speak some German there. That's kind of funny.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Do
and
they
everything is like German themed.
really
Yeah,
they kind of retain the German culture, or is it they are Brazilians?
a bit of both. Like they say they're German, then they're kind of proud of it, but their culture is not really the same as German culture these days.
What kind of what's going on there in this?
Well, you can imagine like most of these people, they're like people my age, their great grandparents came here like 100 years ago. So Germany has been through, well, quite some things since then, and the culture has changed as well. right? And the people that have the German culture here, they didn't really change. They kept the same kind of culture. So
Wait,
it
you're
has
saying that
something.
they? Oh, sorry. So
No,
you're
no, go
saying
ahead.
they have as if like you went to Germany 100 years ago. That's what
Yeah,
they're having there.
exactly. But then mixed with the Portuguese, basically, or the Brazilians in this case. So
Wow,
it's yeah, it's a bit it's its own culture, you could say.
interesting. So what's that? So kind of each country, you would say there's a geographic distinction. So for example, in the, let's say in the US, you would have, you know, no, the north and the south divide. In Germany, you would have the west and east Germany,
Hmm.
things like that. What's the dividing line in Brazil?
So in Brazil, basically, most people, if you ask them, they will say there are like 5 parts. So there's the south where I'm. Then you have like the, oh, I'm probably gonna not say the region 100% correctly, but like the northwest, northeast, middle west, and middle east.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not Middle East, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
So it's basically divided in 5 parts.
Mm-hmm. So why is it divided this way? What's
I think it's mostly because of the kind of like ecosystems you have. Like you have the Amazon, and you have the coastline in the north, the coastline around Sao Paulo and Rio, and you have the south where I am, and you have like this other like grassland kind of like region, a little bit north of where I'm.
okay? Okay, I see. And are people the same in all those places?
They have their own accents, you know, and their own words sometimes, a little bit probably slang and whatever in between. Like I really noticed that I have my school, for example, my language school is located in Rio, but I live here in Curitiba, and that's like if you would put it according to these rules, like it would kind of be like a different country. So you do notice a difference in language.
Oh, okay. So how is your how do you get by with with you know the language you know so far? Do you use English? Do you use Spanish? How do you when you were
Well, I
trying to
make
rent a flat, what were you doing?
well my like my flatmates they all speak English, so
Ah, okay.
I
That
usually
helps.
go for that.
That helps. So
Yeah,
English.
yeah, English is my main language here. Like I tried to throw some Portuguese in there, but it's like almost nothing.
And what about the food? Is food different in different parts of the country?
Yeah, I think so. To be honest, I'm not an expert on the food, man. You shouldn't ask me about that because I'm a vegetarian and this country loves their meat. So
Ah, okay.
I'm not I don't know anything about the food to be honest.
Fair, fair. That would be interesting to know. I would imagine that there must be some differences between what they eat in, you know, different places. If you say that the nature is different depending on where in Brazil you are, then
Yeah.
surely there must be something going on. But if you're a vegetarian in Brazil, what is it hard? What's like?
Like if you cook at home, it's always fine. And
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, in a big city like this, you have a lot of vegetarian vegan places. It's just
Oh,
if you go to traditional places or you want something cheap, it's always gonna have meat.
oh, okay. So what do you do? Do you break your vegetarian diet or
No, no, I just eat at home or I go to a vegan place.
fair, 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 fair?
There are enough of them.
Okay. And the city that you live in right now, what's the vibe like?
Sorry, the what?
What's the vibe like in the city you live in?
Pretty calm. I mean, it's still COVID time, so it's not that busy out.
Did they shut everything down there?
No, no, they never really shut everything down, but there are some restrictions.
Oh wait, are you vaccinated?
I got my first dose like a week ago, actually.
Oh wow. Okay, not that bad then.
No,
How
no, no, they've been going pretty fast lately here.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was only Europe, America, and some other countries that were making
No,
any progress.
no, like I think most of the world is like going pretty fast right now.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
At least
Well,
in South America, what I know, but
okay,
maybe
that's
maybe not all countries, but Brazil's not doing bad.
What's the vaccination rate in Brazil?
I have no idea. Like first dose, I think it's more than 50% all actually.
Oh, that's so
But like
good.
second dose, like I have to wait 3 months before I get the second one. So
Yeah,
that's quite long.
yeah. But I mean, at least you have the first one.
Yeah, the first one's in.
Yeah.
But
So let's go back to this mindset that we were talking about. I think there is something to be said about this because you do seek those adventures, right?
yeah,
It's
that's what makes life interesting.
so before you went to Brazil, I feel like you went on this really lengthy trip, right? A hike, you could say it, adventure, walking adventure. How would you describe an experience on foot?
It's called the Camino de Santiago.
Right.
In its correct name. Yeah, that was definitely a journey.
I mean, you walked what? How many kilometers did you walk?
Um, it was about 3,000.
3,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
How long did it take you?
Well, I'm not 100% sure, but it was like 100 days or a little more than that, like
Okay.
103 or something.
You started in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I left my hometown, Eemnes, and from there I just walked every day about 30 to 40 kilometers, depending on the day.
Oh wow, 30 to 40 kilometers. I thought it
Yeah,
was more
on
like
average, to be
20.
honest. No, some days we had like 20 as well, but on average, it was about 30, I think.
How many hours does it take you to walk 30 kilometers?
Oh man, that really depends on the day and the terrain. Like if you're walking through the hills, it's gonna take you way longer, but yeah, I have no idea. Actually, I would just be outside all day till I find a new place to sleep.
Oh yeah. Because
So I
I
never really focus on the time.
because I remember that I walked 20 something kilometers a couple of months ago, and I was genuinely so tired and so pleased to be back home to sleep in my bed. And it was just one day, so I would need to multiply that times 100
Yeah.
to get the
Now you get
experience.
used to it. You get
O-
used to it.
Okay.
It's at the beginning maybe difficult, like on a Camino, there's the saying that the first week is like for your body, the second week is for your mind, and the third week you're gonna enjoy. Because the first week is just gonna be hard on your body. The second week is gonna be hard on your mind. You're gonna cry, you're gonna hate it, you wanna go home, and on the third week you're gonna start enjoying it.
Why did
So
you put yourself through this?
um, well, mostly for the adventure, just like the journey, but also a bit of the spiritual journey on the way. Like it's like you get to know yourself and you have to face yourself as well. It's not
When
an
you,
easy thing to do.
yeah, no, I literally can't imagine it to be an easy thing. But when you say that you have to face yourself, what do you mean, and what has this experience taught you?
Well, okay, first of all, it's like the comfort zone. Like that's definitely a thing. And for me, I think that was the most difficult on the first day. Because on the first day, especially if you're starting from the Netherlands, you're thinking, okay, like it's day one, gonna leave. How much kilometers do I have to go? And then you look at the map and it's like 3,000 to go. Then that feels like you're staring into like an endless distance. Like you're never gonna make it because it's so far away.
Hmm.
And to take that first step is actually really difficult.
Really?
Yeah, you gotta like leave that comfort zone because like before you leave, you can just not leave. You can just stay home. But
Where what
doing
did you ever worry that that's actually what's gonna happen to you?
at the beginning, yeah, like at the beginning, I was like, oh man, I want to give up a couple times, like
Oh, really? How
not
close
just a
were
couple
you?
times, like sorry.
How close were you to giving up, actually? Would you say?
Day four was very close to giving up.
Why?
Well, The first 4 days I was in the Netherlands, and eventually I ended up in Breda. I think it was 3 or 4 days, or it was day 4 that I left there. And my feet were destroyed. It was raining. It was cold. The day before that, I actually slept outside, and no one wanted to give me shelter for that night. So I slept outside next to a football club. Everything just sucked at that moment, and I wanted to go home. And I was still close to home, so I could just take a train if I wanted to and be back in an hour. But
what was the time of the year you set off?
July, actually middle
Oh,
of summer, but it was crazy cold at that moment. Just
mm,
that week, it was raining the whole week in the Netherlands. It was like, I think warmest was like 12 degrees or maybe 14. So at
that's
night it was kind of
so
cold.
cold.
Yeah, so like I had moments that it was really warm on the way, but the beginning just was really cold.
So 4 days in, you want to give up. What pushed you through?
Yeah, that's a difficult question actually. I think a couple things. I was really tired, so when I got to a hostel, the hostel where I slept at night, I went to bed. Like I didn't think about going back. I just slept. I had a bed. I was happy. That's the only thing I needed. So I thought I would just see tomorrow, and yeah, that's what I did. And next morning I woke up, felt a little better. So just try to keep on going, push yourself. Like that's the only thing I could think of. Like just don't stop, keep on going. And I also had a little bit of the push from a lot of other people, you could say. I did a crowdfunder to fund the whole journey. Maybe you have seen it.
Yep.
And well, the thing is, like, if you do a crowdfunder that promises you're gonna walk the Camino, you cannot just go back after 4 days, man. Like, you can't do that. That's also a thing. Actually, I think it's a good thing. It was very much a good thing to have that in the back of your mind, like that if you would go back, all those people that helped you get there, they're gonna look you right in the eyes and probably say not such nice things, which I would have deserved if I quit it at that moment. So, but I didn't.
Yes, I see what you mean. See what you mean. So you were trying to stay accountable to
Yeah, and that was a good
your
push for me.
donors.
Exactly.
Okay, so you pushed through the first few tough days.
Yeah.
What was it like? What was the experience like after?
Well, I felt a little proud when I crossed the border to Belgium. I mean, walked through half a country, maybe the Netherlands, and it's small, but still half a country. So felt pretty good, but still difficult the first week. And then I took an extra resting day in Antwerp. After that, it went on easier, to be honest. Starting to walk in France got a bit boring there because the landscape is a lot of the same stuff. But you get used to the walking every day, and your mind also adjusts a bit. So from there on, it was easier.
When you say your mind adjusts to it, what do you mean?
Like you get used to being 12 hours with yourself, staring in the distance the whole day
Mm. But would you?
without. Sorry.
No, sorry. Continue. My bad.
No, you go. You go.
Would you just walk by the roadside? Was there actual path going through fields and forests? What's
A
the
bit of both. It really depended on where I was.
how would you even navigate?
I used Google Maps mostly actually, but there are some like official roads. But what I mostly did is just I took a town for the day and just put it on the maps and walk there.
Wouldn't your phone die?
No,
So how many power banks did you have on you?
3.
You had 3 power banks. So
Yeah, 3 power
so
banks.
you could last a few days and still have juice on your phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I see.
But if you like, if you're walking the whole day, you almost don't use your phone, so it doesn't die that fast either.
Yep. Yeah, you
So
kind of get used to not using your phone, huh?
yeah, like if you the moment you get used to being with yourselves all day, like I said, like just staring in the distance for 12 hours straight without anything, you don't need a phone, so you're not gonna look at your phone. You just walk, and you have if like your phone is just in your pocket and you don't use it for 12 hours, like it maybe loses 5%. So, you know, just to look at the map sometimes. That's all.
But don't you think that people normally check their phone all the time
Oh yeah.
because it's a different experience if you're out there in the nature and you hear the birds chirping and there's a hill there's a forest there. It's a different experience than when you're, let's say, taking a bus to get from point A to point B in the city. And it's like, I kind of understand why people are on their phone all the time in a way, because
Yeah, true.
it's not as relaxing or exciting as being in the nature. I feel like
No, I understand that too.
people naturally tend to, when you're in the nature, your inner self kind of syncs with the nature way better than when you're
Well,
in
to be totally honest, I think most parts of the road, especially beginning North France, this part, I think most people would be on their phone if they could. The thing is, you just can't, because if you're gonna have your phone in front of you like this the whole time while you're walking, you're gonna fall at some
Yep.
point.
Right.
It's just not possible. So I think that's actually the best reason. Else I would have probably used it at the beginning as well.
Oh
But you get
yeah.
used to it. Yeah. Yeah.
what
It's boring
what
at the beginning.
hmm, what's the how would you entertain yourself?
Oh, I used to have a lot of music on my phone and audiobooks as well. Listen to a lot of audiobooks, which is nice.
Oh, okay, so you were actually listening to stuff. You weren't
At,
fully
at,
on
at
your
the
own.
beginning, but actually, like later on, I stopped doing that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Ah,
because at
okay.
the beginning, you seek that kind of like distraction from your phone,
Hmm.
but you cannot touch it. So then you just listen to music or audiobooks. But eventually, like you get kind of used to it, and then one day you don't listen to music for a couple hours, and then you listen to an audiobook maybe, and the next day you don't do anything at all
Hmm.
because you just don't feel like it or just don't need it.
So, what was the most pleasant part of the trip?
Hmm. Most pleasant part. I think like the journey was very long. And from Spain on, which is like already 2/3 done, a lot of other people started walking the road as well. And here I met a lot of other people as well, other pilgrims on the road, and I met a really nice group of people, and we walked for some time together, and I think they were the best part of it.
Hmm. Did you make any friendships? Are you in touch with those
Yeah,
people?
yeah, definitely. You get close to some people on the road.
That's amazing. That's probably, yeah. That would I would I see the value in it. That's
Yeah.
really so. So what was, because the big part of the journey was walking across France, right? How was that like? Anything worth noting?
South of France was cool. North of France is a bit boring, to be honest. It's
Why
a lot of the
was
same.
why was South cool?
Well, the south is like more beautiful landscapes, and the north is very yeah, just the same, only the same thing. Only cornfields and cornfields, and then more cornfields. Then you have Paris, and then there's more cornfields. So that wasn't very interesting. And it's also more difficult. People are a little more harsh in the north of France. So to get a place to sleep was always a bit more difficult. In the south, people are way more chill. They're like, ah,
Hmm.
come on in, have an apple here, take some peaches from the garden.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Yeah, it's pretty chill.
Did you meet any mean types along the way?
Anyone?
Mean types, mean people,
Mean
unfriendly,
people.
unhelpful. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. Like I don't speak any French, right? But I would knock on doors to ask people if I could sleep there. And well, I had a little letter that said like in French, like "Bonjour, I'm Frank and I sleep here," blah 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 blah. And
No context. Bonjour, I'm Frank. Can I sleep here? Of course, they would be upset.
no, a bit more explanation on the paper, of course, But um, sometimes I would knock on the door and people they put their head out of the window and they start screaming at you, and I can't say anything in
Oh
French, so
wow.
and they wouldn't understand me, and they
That's
wouldn't like read my paper, so that they would not understand what I was doing.
hmm
Uh, I had this a couple times that people just like start screaming at you, or I also had someone ask me if I spoke French, and I said no, and they say like, "Oh no," and they just got a door slammed in my face. Like, okay,
Oh wow.
this happens a lot.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so interesting. What was? Did you have similar problems in Spain?
No, in Spain, because like there's like the famous pilgrims roads there. You have a lot of people walking there, so you have special hostels for these people, like called albergues. So you can just go there. They're cheap and they're made for pilgrims. So
When you say cheap, how much is a night?
it depends. Usually somewhere between nothing and 15 euros.
Oh, okay.
And they sometimes come with food as well.
But I mean, 15 euros if you need to spend that every night, that adds up quickly.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, you need some money if you're gonna do it every time. But it really depends. Like sometimes that's not that big of a deal because like I think most places I paid 15. You get like a breakfast with it. You can take some food for lunch as well, and then you get dinner too. So
Oh wow, so they would feed you for that as well.
yeah, so if it's 15 and it's for your whole day and it's all your food, it's okay.
That's okay. I agree.
Yeah.
What would be the food that they feed to pilgrims?
It really depends. Just normally just people cooking,
Was it
like
good?
whatever they want to cook. Yeah,
Did you
overall.
have any health issues along the way? It's been 100 days. That's quite long.
Um, no, except for blisters on my feet, nothing, man.
How did you
But that's
treat
just the
those?
use. The blisters, I just you just pop them and
You pop them? Oh,
oh, you pop them
Jesus.
right away, man. You gotta pop
Really?
them. Yeah, you gotta pop them,
Really?
dry them, and then keep on walking, basically. But and clean it. Like when you pop them, clean it, do it clean, sterilize everything because if it gets infected, you're fucked.
But you
Literally.
never had a problem like that.
No. The first 4 days, I think that's why they were also the most difficult. I had a lot of blisters.
Mm-hmm.
They just grow back and they grow back bigger every time. But after a week, I didn't have any anymore. I did start walking a bit weirdly after a week, but
Why?
that was most my muscles. They like I didn't stretch enough and they tense up. So every time you stand up after sitting, I would have like need 10 minutes to kind of like get back to walking normally. That happens every time, but I've seen this happen to so many people after in Spain and also in France
Mm-hmm.
because they would just start from there and then they never popped a blister and they never stretched and they had like the exact same problems as me, and I always felt like a little bit of an expert there just looking at these people being miserable,
Did you
knowing that I already done the same thing.
did you meet people who walked from further than you? Because you walked almost the whole deal, huh? Like you walked from really
um
far.
I came from pretty far, yeah, but I did meet people who walked farther.
Really? What was the furthest?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. Well, there was I'm not sure if they were on a bike or not, but there were two brothers that we met one day, and they were on their way back. I think
But
they
I
came
mean,
from
that makes
Italy.
a huge difference if they were on the bike.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if they were on the bike, to be honest. I never really talked to them. I just we sat at the same table where there were a lot of people. I didn't really talk to them, so I don't know. But they I think they came from Italy, but I think they were going to Moscow or something.
Wow.
So that's quite quite a long journey. But
Oh
I'm not
wow.
sure how they went or how they were
How
going
did
from
that
there.
go? Yeah. True.
But they definitely came from farther away, I guess, or they were going farther.
Okay, so also, how did you know what to do with the blisters? Did you read online?
No, oh, I just know. I think it's because my mom taught me or something, like
Oh,
growing
okay,
up.
fair. So you you get to Spain, you get to actually the spot, Santiago de Compostela. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What's what's the experience like?
Glory.
Yeah.
No, it's beautiful, man. It's sad, but it's beautiful. Like the last day, you want to get there, but you kind of also don't. Like I still miss the road. I really want to go back.
But would you
And
want to do the same thing again, or would you just want to walk something?
ooh, that's a good one. I guess both. Like I wouldn't walk the same road, but there are more than one. I didn't even know. I think like 10 routes throughout Spain. So I would walk another one, but it's mostly just being on the go. There's a kind of like nomad experience you have when you live there. You just get your stuff, your backpack in the morning. You walk, you go to a new place, you eat, you sleep, you meet some cool people, and you go on. And it's a very peaceful way of living.
Yeah, that sounds
And
amazing.
I definitely miss that every day.
Mm. So, what were what lessons did you learn from this truly amazing experience?
Well, one is just you gotta do it. That's still the most important message, I think. Just do it. Whatever you want, just do it. If you don't do it now, someone else will do it, and you will never. You will definitely miss out. Like just go for it. That's always the most important thing. But I think also just the idea to wait and most importantly to be grateful.
To be grateful.
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
like my whole journey depended on other people. The first place it was a crowdfunder, so I'm grateful to everyone who helped me there. And the second one was that my stays throughout France, Belgium, and the Netherlands, I just knocked on doors and hoped people would accept me, and some did. And I'm very grateful to all those people. And I think you learn how to be grateful. Like I don't know, it's difficult to explain, but you will just experience it at some point. You're gonna be more happy with just the simple things as well, because that's the only things you really need.
what were you eating when you were walking? Did you have any go-to foods that, like, carried you through the?
I did. So I would just hope I had my strategies. Especially in the beginning I didn't, but in France I eventually developed strategies to this. I figured out that the French people usually eat somewhere around 7-8, which is perfect. So in summer the sun goes down around 8 or 9 throughout France, depending on where you are, of course. But I figured this: if I go to someone's house, I walk all day and I start, and if I'm like early in the town, I just sit in the grass and chill, play my ukulele a little bit or something. And when I think it's time around 5 or 6, I go knocking on doors. Then usually it takes me around an hour. So around 6 or 7, I get like a place I can go in. And
Mhm.
then you're like right before they have dinner.
Perfect.
So I would usually be invited to have dinner with them, and that would be like my go-to for food.
That's amazing. What?
I also really needed that because I didn't have enough money for food, and my financial planning was really poorly. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Huh.
I thought I would make it with the amount of money I had, and I was very wrong. And the pandemic made it worse because things got more expensive, especially when it comes to hostels.
Hmm. How interesting.
Yeah, because I thought I had money to stay at hostels and buy food, but I definitely did not.
What What was the most expensive bit of the journey?
I think Spain, because mostly in Spain I stayed in albergues, so I had to spend money daily.
Hmm.
And people there also know on the people living on the towns that are on the road, they know about the albergues. So like I didn't go knocking on doors there much, but if I would, they just send you to the albergue because they're like, oh, Pellegrino, oh, there's a special place for you, go there, which
Yeah.
makes sense. In France, not everyone knew about it, so they're just like, oh, interesting, come on in. It's very different.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Did you eat any good food on the road? The French cook well.
Well, they have good cheese, that's for sure. They cook well too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the cheese. Like, it was always a funny thing if I enter like a French house, like in a family home or something. It's always a bit, well, for most people, it's strange being a vegetarian, I guess. And if I say that, they are always like, "Oh, okay, ooh, so no sausage for you," like this kind of things. But then a lot of people confuse vegetarian with vegan. I used to be vegan for some time, but it's difficult while traveling, so I don't do it then. And the French people, when dessert comes, which is basically always cheese, I always get like this look that says like, "You do eat cheese, right?" And they look at me like, "If you don't, you sleep on the street, boy." Well, I love their cheese. Like, it's really good. But I always get the same look. Like, if you don't like our cheese, you can just go. You can go home.
That's so funny. So you
Yeah,
actually stick to your vegetarian diet throughout
I
the
did. Yeah.
road. Oh wow. Yeah, because that sounds, you not only are asking someone to host you, but you also have on top of that, and feed you, but on top of that you have to be, but I am vegetarian. And French
Well,
are probably not the most vegetarian
it's not the
people
most
out there.
vegetarian place. Their McDonald's does not have a veggie burger. It's
Yeah.
very sad.
Yeah,
If I
exactly.
ordered a veggie burger there once and they just offered to remove the burger. Yeah, that's very sad.
Exactly. So I guess that speaks to my point that not many of the families you stayed with were vegetarian.
No, none. No, one actually. One family was. One family.
Oh wow, that must
But
have been a bonding experience.
oh yeah, it was great. It was really great. That's the best when you come in and they're like, "Oh, yeah, we're about to have dinner. You want to join us? We are vegetarian though." And I'm like, "Oh, yes, yes, me too."
But so
That's very nice.
but that one is easy. But what did you do when you
Well, it's like it's not that difficult. The thing is, I never asked for food. People always offer. So when people offer, like, you can refuse. Like, if I'm asking for food and they say like we have this, you cannot really demand anything.
right?
So I always made sure I just had food with me
Oh yeah, that's smart.
because you cannot rely that everyone's gonna offer you food. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Did
great,
you
and most of the time I got it, but
did you have
you need a backup.
did you have situations where they didn't offer you food?
Yeah, I did a couple times, but it's all right. Like, I don't expect people to. That's what I mean. Like, with maybe some part of it, of the learning experience of being grateful. People don't have to do anything. They don't even have to let me in. Like, they do it out of the kindness of their heart. So you can be grateful for that. And if they give you food, you can be more grateful. But if they don't, they're still great people and they're still let you in and that's still amazing. Like,
Yeah,
you
definitely agree with
cannot
that.
you cannot start being picky or demanding anything because it's not in my right to do that. I'm just a humble human being coming through, and whatever is given, I will gladly take.
I love that. I love that. So what
Stay humble.
yeah, what I was about to say that what would be your message? Like what would be your closing sentences for the listeners?
Oh, that's one. Keep on smiling, because that's what got me a place in the first place. Every time I just come in and smile as stupidly as I could. But if your smile brings another smile on someone's face, you make someone else happy, and they probably let you into.
Yeah, that's a good message to wrap it up. I agree with you. Thank you so much for sparing some time to share your amazing stories. I think people will get tremendous amount of value out of this episode and out of just listening and tuning into what you had to say. It's amazing that you had your crazy walking adventure and then you decided to move to Brazil and you're still going strong there. I wish you all the best, brother, and stay strong. We'll be in touch, and all the best to you. It's amazing.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.